Chapter 6, Data Types Revisited. As seen in the first chapter, the primary data types could be of three varieties: char, int, and float. So, primary data types are of three varieties. So, in this chapter, we will discuss about them in detail. So, they are varieties of char, int, and float. It may seem odd to many of C programmers manage with such a tiny set of data types. So it seems odd that with such a tiny data set of data types, many C programmers are managing to code or managing to perform their task. Fact is, the C programmers aren't really deprived. They can derive many data types from these three types. So the fact is, C programmers aren't really deprived. They can derive many data types from these three types. In fact, the number of data types that can be deprived in C is a principal unlimited. So number of data types that can be deprived in C is a principal unlimited. Not only this, the primary data types themselves could be of several types. For example, a char could be an unsigned char or a signed char, or an int could be a short int or long int. So there are there are various data types like char is like unsigned char, that means one having sign, one that do not have sign, or sign char, that means it has a positive or negative sign, or an int that could be short int or long int, that means it stores little data, that means several bytes, that is short int. And long int, it means it stores long data, that means longer integers. To fully define a variable, one needs to mention not only its type but also storage class. So for defining a variable fully, one needs to mention not only its type but also its storage class. So we have to define its storage class also. Integers long and short. We had seen earlier that the range of an integer constant depends upon the compiler. So we have seen earlier that range of an integer constant depends upon the compiler. For a 16-bit compiler like Turbo C or Turbo C++, the range is -32768 to +32767, because 0 is also included here. So that is why 32767 is given. For a 32-bit compiler, range would be -2147483648 to plus 2147483647. So this is a range for 32-bit compiler. Here a 16-bit compiler means that when it compiles a C program, it generates machine language code. So 16-bit compiler means that when it compiles program, so it is generating a 16-bit it is generating a machine language code targeted towards working on a 16-bit microprocessor. So that compiled code is now targeted towards a 16-bit micro processor like Intel 8086 or 8088. So these are famous microcontrollers, that is 8088 and 86, as against this 32-bit compiler like VC++, that is Visual C++, generates machine language code that is targeted towards a 32-bit microprocessor like Intel Pentium. So Intel Pentium is a 32-bit microprocessor. So it is code that is targeted towards a 32-bit MUPI, that means microprocessor like Intel Pentium. It would run successfully, but at that time the 32-bit processor would work as if it were a 16-bit processor. So that means it works on different machines also.